Yo, what is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome to my brand new Football Manager 2015 playthrough. Hopefully you guys are good. Today marks the start of my brand new series, Tracksuit to the Top. In this series I'm starting off as a tracksuit manager with no reputation in football whatsoever. I'm going to be starting right at the very bottom of the English football pyramid and hopefully working my way up with various teams as I look to excel my career to hopefully become one of the greats and maybe even top the Hall of Fame. To kick off this series, as I mentioned, I have no reputation, I have no coaching badges. What you can see on screen here is how I've set myself up. I focus primarily on fitness coaching, I am primarily a tracksuit manager, and now I'm going to go and find myself a job. I'm going to come back to you guys when I've got a job interview or two and we'll assess our options. Right guys, so I have 2 interviews I've been given. Fantastic news. It's been a little under a week, I believe, and already job offers are slowly coming in. The 2 I've got to attend are one at Lewes FC and one at Droylsden. The one at Lewes is the one that really interests me. The club has some fairly healthy finances for the division they're in. They're in the Ryman Premier League, which is the 7th tier of English football. That is one division below the Conference North and South. If we could get the job here, that would be fantastic. As you can see here, they've got a bit of a topsy-turvy past. They were in the conference not too long ago, but as recently as 2010, the club was, I believe, less than 24 hours away from being completely kind of non-existent. And then a group of kind of fans stepped in, and I believe it's a fan-owned club now, so that could be an interesting project. The other one we have is another club with a slightly similar story, and that's Droylsden. Their finances aren't quite as good. They've not kind of had that what's the kind of word? The recovery period, I guess. And you'll also notice they're one division below Lewes, playing in the Everstick Northern Prem. So 2 job interviews here. I think primarily we're going to focus on the Lewes one, and we'll see how that goes. So we'll attend this interview now. Right, I'm glad that you've given me an opportunity to talk to you, Mr. Terry Paris. Why should you overlook the fact I've never managed a club? I'm going to go with passionately. I've been waiting for the right opportunity. Why am I looking at more than one job? I'm considering my options. I'm going to tell him assertively. I am comfortable working with finances. So one thing you'll probably notice already, guys, is that some of the teams I'm looking at are in and around the tier and kind of level that, of course, FC United and Manchester were in. Which is kind of interesting. So it means that we could have kind of an FC United and Manchester Mark II. Unfortunately, because of the resolution I'm playing on, I can't easily select philosophies, but we'll go with that. Passionate. I'd like to get involved in the promotion race if we do well, but I might need a slightly larger wage budget. Any additional requests? Let's go with passionate. I have no more requests. Excellent. So that seemed like a pretty good job interview. I'm going to do the Droylsden one as well, and we'll see how they get on. I'm pretty much assuming that I'm going to get the same questions here, so I'm going to go with very similar answers. But yeah, this save has the potential to be very long term. There's going to be a lot of parallels between this save and the FC United Manchester one I did 2 years ago. So if you enjoyed that save, hopefully this is going to be up your street. One thing that I should point out, however, is that I am not completely eliminating the idea of moving from club to club to kind of enhance my career. We're kind of going to go with this save as it goes. And we'll just go with the flow and see where we end up. I'm hoping it's going to be a long-term series. One of my big gripes last year was, of course, the fact that we didn't stick with a save, or rather I didn't stick with a save, and it wasn't through choice. It was just I didn't really get into too many of my YouTube ones, and already we've had the really successful Arsenal save, which has been a great start. And I'm looking for this to be now my long-term save throughout the year. So that's both job interviews attended. They're the only 2 jobs that I've seriously considered and actually applied for. There were plenty more to go for, but those were the 2 that jumped out at me. As you can see here, there's a list of some of the other jobs which are available. But anyway, guys, I'm going to join you when I find out if I've got any job offers. And yeah, we'll take things from there. But fingers crossed, touch wood, the Lewes FC job can be ours. Well, I think it's safe to say I couldn't have asked for a better start to this series. Guys, I got the Lewes job. Fantastic news. We got the additional wage budget as well that I requested, which is absolutely fantastic. I am buzzing. This is a fantastic opportunity. I love the fact that they play in a stadium called the Dripping Pan. We're going to be hopefully taking the Rooks through a few divisions and maybe even to the Premier League. The fact they're fan-owned is an added bonus. The fact you could probably gather that when I was talking just a second ago, I'd done a little bit of research into the teams that were available and needed a manager, and Lewis was the one that really jumped out as me, of a club who have a little bit of a, I guess, dark history in terms of fairly recently. You know, they've been so close to kind of ceasing to exist, and now I have an opportunity to hopefully bring some brighter days to the Dripping Pan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my traditional kind of skip through to the end of pre-season. But before we do that, just a quick look at some of the key players so you guys can get an idea of the squad that we have. If we sort by ability, you can see here we have Henry Muggeridge, 20 years old, a pretty good player to be honest. You can see here, started at Bristol but never broke into their side, joined us on a free this year. And looking at his attributes, you can see here, he's a pretty good fullback. He has some nice stats, especially going forward. He'll be a useful wing-back, certainly. And he is a good talent in this side. We've also got a few older players like Matt Crabb here, who is a left winger. Again, has some fairly good stats. So all in all, I'm very, very optimistic about what we can do here. There's some good players. Players like Gary Elphick. Another good player, great in the air, 28 years old, joined us on a free this year. I'm buzzing. I feel as if this is a team that can do really well. So yeah, I'm not really sure how I'm going to shape up just yet, because I'm probably going to be shaking things up fairly rapidly here. But all in all, we have a good squad, we're at a good club, and hopefully things can go our way. So I will join you guys at the end of pre-season to give you a full-on rundown of exactly what's going on. Okay guys, so it is match day and it is the end of pre-season, and my word, it's been a busy one at that. Not too many players going on out of the club, struggled to sell anyone really, which is a little bit disappointing, but in terms of the players I've acquired and added to the squad, I really feel as if we've added some significant strength in some key areas. So we'll cover the transfers first, then I'll talk a little bit about the tactics, and we'll kind of go from there, just discuss some general club matters, and then we have the first game of the season, which is away against Billericay. So we've got that game to look forward to. But anyway, on the ins, 5 players. The first one here, Darian Neven. We signed him as a free agent. As you can see, he's been out of the game for a year since his spell at Charlton, and he's a quite good player. He's 18 years old. He's got some good technicals, good dribbling, first touch, and heading really stand out. He's got some good physicals as well in terms of his speed is very solid. Good natural fitness, which is going to help out. Jumping reach isn't the best, nor his strength, but with the exception of that, his stamina, agility and balance help. And on his mentals, 10 composure is good for a striker, 9 bravery I like, and good teamwork and work rate too. So all in all, a good little player, comes in on a free transfer. He's only on £45 a week, so I'm pretty happy to get him in. The next player, perhaps the best player I got in during this kind of, I guess, first transfer window, was Lewis Tallack. 21 years old, a really, really good centre-back, and I mean an incredibly good centre-back. He'd be a good player for most teams in our division. You can see here his big weaknesses being his 1 foot. And because he's a professional individual, he doesn't fit in with our dressing room, which is something I'm looking to kind of remedy, bring in some more professional characters and hopefully kind of, I guess, revamp the changing room in the coming few seasons. Looking at his attributes, you can see here, great physicals, good natural fitness again, which is good in the lower leagues where he's going to have a pretty hectic schedule. Good pace as well, good to get in a centre-back, and Tallack really ticks that box. Pace was particularly important when you consider that we have Elphick, who is our other kind of key centre-back, and he's a particularly slow player with only 5 acceleration and 7 pace. So hopefully these two guys are going to work well off each other. Anyway, the next of our transfers in was Stephen Page, another defender. This guy is a fantastic left back. The left back position was a position that was noticeably weak in terms of we didn't really have a solid player who was good enough to repeatedly appear in our first team and be up to the standards of the league. So I managed to get in Stephen Page here. He's actually a really, really well-rounded individual in terms of all his stats. You look at them, there's not too many below 6. In fact, are there any below 6? There probably isn't, which at this level is absolutely incredible. He's a good left back as well. If I just show you by highlighting his key attributes, you can see here, good defensive player. He's not kind of a master of his trade, he's more of a jack of all trades. He can tick many boxes. He is going to be playing left back because that's the only position he plays, but in terms of different situations he gets into, his just well-roundedness is going to suit him well. The last two players, two strikers. This guy here, Jack Randall, just a very good player. I was determined to get in some goal-scoring talent and some kind of good attacking players because I feel in the lower leagues particularly, it can really make or break a team. If you've got the capability to score, you're always going to do well. If you don't have that capability, it doesn't matter how good you are at the back, you're going to struggle. But anyway, we've got this guy in Jack Randall, as you can see, 22 years old, pretty good player. Again, good natural fitness and good physical, something that I've been kind of keen to sign in these players. You can see, looking at where he's played, he started off at Crystal Palace. He's actually been a free agent for the last 3 years, so he's come to us and maybe he can get his career back on track. But he is a very, very good player. He's only on £140 a week, and for this level, he's going to be a very good player. Naturally a centre attacking mid, but I'm currently retraining him to play striker. And the last but not least, we have Ellis Remy, who in fact is an international for Montserrat, which, if I remember correctly, is an island off the, I want to say it's off the east coast of America. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong there. I have a feeling I covered them in geography at some point in my schooling life. But anyway, looking at this guy, he's been there, done it, and got the postcard in this division. He's never really dominated for a team in our league, but this is the level that he is capable of playing at. You can see he's had a few breaks into the Vanarama South. Last year he played for Hitchin in the Southern Premier, where he played for 7 games. Played for Eastbourne Borough before, who I believe are actually a rival of Lewis, which maybe isn't ideal, but nevertheless, he's a good player, good international player, and I'm very hopeful that he's going to do something for us. So anyway, there are the transfers. A little bit more about the club here. You can see here our reputation is only half a star. The nickname of the club is the Rucks. Our status is currently semi-professional. We have an estimated value of 130k. We have got a loan debt to get rid of, and finances are something I'll come on to shortly. And you can also see the season ticket holders, average ticket price and average season ticket price there. In terms of icons and legends, we've got a few players here. Unfortunately, Anthony Barnes is the only one who's actually clickable. I did look to potentially get him in as a coach, but unfortunately, he has one in every single coaching attribute except youngster, and I was just not going to deal with that. So I did mention the finances. You'll see here we're currently minus £11,000. It's worth noting, of course, that we are in pre-season, so we've not been playing too many games, league games, especially where you'd expect the fans to turn up. Hopefully that isn't going to be a massive issue. I'm going to have to keep my eyes on that. In terms of where we lie in relation to our wage budget, we're only £16 over it, so that's not really going to ruin the club's finances on its own. If the club finances were to continue to go on a downwards trend, it'd be more down to the overall infrastructure of the club rather than, I guess, a managerial error on my behalf. So that's that. In terms of how we're going to line up this year, this is the tactic we're going with. We are going with a 4-4-2. We're going back to the roots of football, back to grassroots, and we're going to play the classic formation, the original. I was going to say the original formation, but that's a complete lie because 2-3-5 used to be the original formation. But anyway, it's a classic, is the point I'm trying to make. So looking at our side, I'm going to go through all our starting 11 here that we have. So in goal, Ricky Banks, 26 years old. This guy's a very good goalkeeper at this level. Great aerial ability, good shot stopping. His eccentricity is not a good thing for him to have in abundance, but he has hit, so we're going to have to deal with it. Hopefully we won't see too many scorpion kicks. He's been a player who's played actually at Lewis a number of times, including when they were in the conference, so he's kind of been at the club a few times, and as you can see, a bit like Jack Randall, he started his career at Crystal Palace, so he's a very good goalkeeper. At left back we have Page, who I've already covered. We then have Talak, and then we also have Elphick, who I mentioned earlier, being a little bit slow, but he is our club captain. He's a very good player, good mentals, particularly leadership, determination, bravery and aggression. There's a common misconception, I guess, that aggression isn't necessarily a good thing. Aggression actually on its own isn't too big of an issue. It's when a player has high dirtiness, which can lead to them kind of, I guess, getting sent off repeatedly. Anyway, at right back we go with Henry Muggeridge. I covered him right at the start of this episode as a player who I believed could do a very good job for us. I still believe that. He's a good player. He's only 21, started his career at Bristol City. As you can see, played for Tunbridge last 2 years in the Conference South, or Vanarama South, and he's done a job there. So hopefully coming to us, he's going to continue that trend. Moving on into the midfield and left, on the left wing even, we have Sam Cole, 22 years old, another good young player, good kind of overall attributes. 12 crossing I really like, some good flair, not got the craziest physicals for a winger, but we do have a alternative option out on the left wing, who I will cover in a second. At centre, kind of Mid, we have here George Branford. He's just a really well-rounded off player. He's only 19 years old, so again, another player with a lot of potential. And as you can see, he joined Lewis on a free transfer, having been on loan from Portsmouth the previous year. So he's a good player, a player with a lot of potential and a player who may well be key for us this year. We then have Jack Walder, another centre mid. This guy, 23 years old, great speed, good vision, good passing. All in all, a pretty useful player to have. And he's going to play a deep line playmaker role for us. We then have this guy, Ross Trelevan, and as you can see here, 17 long throws. This guy is a monster. He's 25. He's got good pace and also kind of good physicals, with the exception of natural fitness, and that could hurt us a little bit because if he's not getting fit between matches, particularly given the fact that, of course, we don't have kind of insane kind of training facilities. You know, fitness is something that's hard to maintain in the lower leagues, and it also explains why I gave my manager really good fitness coaching. Ross is going to have to be a player we very carefully monitor in that regard. Then up front, we do go with the two new signings of Darian Nevin, who is here, who is 18 years old again. We've already covered him. And Jack Randall, who, of course, is the centre attacking mid, who I am now currently in the process of retraining to play poacher for us. And that's a role that he can very much play. As you can see here, he's got the right attributes to that area. The star ratings here for how good he is in the role might as well be ignored because we are in such a low division that whatever my assistant says is a blatant lie for the most part. So that's how we're going to line up. As you can see here, our training familiarity isn't great. Tactics is the main training focus I've got set on the side at the moment, so it might take us a little bit of a slow start into the season to really get going, but I'm hoping once the team embrace the system that I want to play, we're going to be good. We're playing with attacking mentality, flexible shape, and then in team instructions, I've got look for overlap, play narrower, stick to positions, and prevent goalkeepers' short distribution on. And in terms of player instructions, I haven't actually got any on at the moment. Last year in FM14, I found that keeping things simple was usually the way to go. What I tend to do, and I've continued this trend on into this year, is I will make adjustments to the player roles based on observations each game. So that's the way I'm going to approach things here. Ball in all, you can see the player roles down the left hand side. Goalkeeper, both fullbacks on attack is something I want to try here. I want to try really using our strength out wide, particularly given Page and Muggeridge's well-roundedness as fullbacks. It could be useful for us. Out on the right, Ross, and then out on the left, Sam Cole, are both going to be really using their pace for us. Looking for them to play wide midfielder attack. In the centre midfield area, we're going with a ball-winning midfielder support, or sorry, defend, and a deep line playmaker support. Excuse me. And then up front in the final third, we have an advanced forward and a poacher. So nothing too crazy going on there. So that's the squad. Or at least that's the starting team. You can see by the star ratings, there's a few players who are higher star ratings who aren't starting. Matt Crabb was one of the players who I said, you know, he can play left mid. He's a good player. He'll definitely get some football this year, the 32-year-old. The main reason for me playing Sam Cole is simply because he's younger, he's got a little bit more potential, and to be honest, there's not too much difference between the two players. Looking at the potential ratings, that's probably one thing that will immediately stand out to people. I'm yet to do a video on my channel about star ratings. It's something I might come on to at some point and do a video on. The star ratings are relative to the division you're in. So although if I have 5-star players, they're nothing actually incredible. For example, if I go to Brantford here and look at his coach report, does it say his potential ability? It doesn't. Well, if we go to here and I hover over potential ability, you can see it's a superb rating for the senior team. So basically, the 4-star here for potential is actually a leading player for the division we're in. So all these players have the capabilities to really be top players in the division we're in, and that's what I'm going to be looking to get from them. In terms of raw play, you can see Muggeridge is our top ability player, but again, star ratings aren't that accurate because they are done off your assistants judging player ability and potential. So that's our team. The one issue I do have is that we don't have a backup goalkeeper. So what I'm actually going to do right now is I am going to sign up one of the goalkeepers in our grade out team just so we have a secondary option. Unfortunately, he's not going to be available for today's game because I've only just done that. But a little tip there, if you're in the lower leagues and you have virtual players, you can offer any of them contracts at any time. I actually recommend sometimes you just look through these players because occasionally players just appear as virtual players who are actually quite useful and are perhaps worth signing in some instances. I've already done that and checked that here. There wasn't anyone ready to speak of. So anyway, I'm going to quickly select a team based on, or rather a bench based on the star ratings, but as I mentioned, ignore them. They're all lies. All in all, I think we're going to have a pretty good bench. I have a feeling that it's a 7-team bench, or 7-player bench rather, so we'll submit that team. But yeah, this is going to mark the start of this series. Hopefully we can get off to a good start. We're going to be taking on Billericay, who are the favourites for this game, so there's no pressure on us necessarily to succeed. I checked in real life just while I was kind of playing through the preseason, and Lewis FC at the moment in the league are 3rd from bottom, I believe, or they're towards the lower end of the table. So hopefully that is not going to be the case with us. Hopefully the players I've brought in are going to offer us something, and hopefully we can push on for a respectable league position, which is the minimum expectation the board have this year. So, okay team talk so far. Unfortunately, Talak is not happy. He looks stressed. I've told him that I have faith in him, and he doesn't appreciate that. But anyway, let's get into this game. Billericay Town. Can we get our first win on the board? Our first game in management on this save. Probably the first time in any FM series that I've done on YouTube where I'm actually going to be playing a 4-4-2 too. So it's a first for many things, I guess. So Jack Randall picks up a knock immediately. That is not good. Because we don't have physios, I'm actually just not even going to take the chance. I'm going to take him straight off. Sam Crabb's going to come on, who's a pretty good striker. He can also play right back or left back, bizarrely enough, but he's more of an attacking player, so he's more than capable of filling in for Jack Randall. But that is not really the best start, is it? New signing gets injured immediately. But anyway, first half is ticking away. Looking at the stats, we're actually having a lot more of the ball here. Maybe we can make something count here as we have the ball and hoofball. Talak deals with it. Branford, Banks. Okay, so good start. Well, it looks like we're on top, but that can change very quickly. But all in all, I'm optimistic for what we've got in front of us here in terms of the challenge. Although they're now fast on the break here. Can we defend this? Don't give away a penalty. Edwards, oh my gosh, they've scored. Billericay score against the run of play, you'd have to say, and we dropped down to 21st. Well, as I was about to say, I'm optimistic, but after that, we need to bounce back. And oh my gosh, Sam Crabb has bounced back. He's come on off the bench. He wasn't a player who I considered a first team player, but I'll tell you what, on the basis of that finish, we might have to start considering him. Can we hit on the break now? Crabb again. Go on, Sammy Crabb. Cole rushing on ahead. Nevin scores on his debut. Oh, it's offside. It's offside. The Charlton youth prospect, or former youth prospect, I guess, because they released him, almost opened his account for the club, but that's okay. I'm going to tell the boys, unlucky, things just haven't gone right for us so far. They're enjoying that. It was a good first half. It was a very good first half. We had a lot more of the ball. We had a goal disallowed at the end. Although we've gone a goal down, we reacted accordingly, which is great to see. And hopefully we can just push on here and maybe take a few more chances and create a few more chances. We'll see how things go here, as we're immediately piling on the pressure. Trevin, he's got a long throw on him. He's not utilised it massively, but he's done okay there. Walder hits the post and Wild will clear the rebound. So it seems like a lot of the old guard, the players already at the club when I joined, are the ones having the impact right now. Be interesting to see if any of the players, of course, we signed players like Page, who plays left back, can have an impact. Elphick, Branford, parried away. Trelevan scores. That's his first goal for the club. He wasn't one of our new signings, but that gives us the lead. The right midfielder who can also play up front, grabbing a goal there. And he's a player who has the amazing long throws. And to be fair, there's been a few highlights which have started from out wide from his long throws. So maybe he's going to be key for us. Making the maximum use of set pieces is always important at any level, but particularly lower leagues where you don't have the quality, it can be important. But we also need to defend well here. Back post, Banks with the save. 20 minutes left. How's our squad fitness looking? So you can see here, obviously we're in the lower league, so players naturally deteriorate quicker, and that's pretty evident here. I'm going to bring on Matt Crabb for Sam Cole. Levin's not had the best game. I'm not going to make a third sub just yet because there's still 20 minutes left, and given the natural kind of low fitness of some of our players. And even bury that, he scores it. That one's not offside. Take a bow, son. 3-1. He scores on his debut. And we move up to third. Excellent. Now we have a little bit of a cushion. We're a little bit more relaxed, but I'm not going to make that sub. What I was about to say was because of our lack of fitness, it could be something that plays against us if a player gets injured. But Crab here, options. Neven's in the centre still. He won't find him, but we're dominating the play here. 57% possession. We've played pretty well here, although Jaskalainen threads through Benjamin, who misses an absolute sitter for Billericay that would have made a nervy last 15 minutes for us. Have we got an injury? We have got an injury. That is why I didn't make that sub. I'm a genius. I'm going to play Fagami higher up the pitch, but what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to change our fullbacks to defend. Once our players have learnt this, this new, what do you call it? I can't select fullback because of the resolution I'm on, or can I? Did that register a fullback? No, it didn't. Excellent. Right, well, we're playing with limited fullbacks now. What I was going to say was, once our players become familiar with the formation we're playing, which is, of course, the 4-4-2 and the system we're playing, because at the moment we're struggling, I'm going to build a more attacking and defensive variant of the tactic, just so we can be training them in the meantime. And what's the word? Kind of, I guess, having a contingency plan in place. So we're going to go a little bit more defensive here. I'm going to tell the team to go more direct, and we're not going to look for the overlap anymore. And we're going to play counter. We're going to sit back and then look to hit them on the break. And hopefully we can now just see out this game, because there's 8 minutes left. We're away from home. It'd be a great way to kick off the season, especially because Billericay were favourites going into this game. And with 45 seconds left on the clock, that should be all she wrote. And that is a great way to start this save. Wasn't sure what to make of this first kind of, I guess, venture into management, but if this first game is anything to go off, we have a good set of players. The tactic doesn't seem too bad at all. And I think there's a lot to build off. The fact that Neven, one of our kind of strikers who I signed because we needed a goal-scoring threat, I mentioned earlier that it's a key element of, I guess, lower league football, is having a good, fast player, particularly a striker who's capable of playing. And the fact that he's got off this season with a goal is fantastic. So that is a great win for us. That sees us move up to 6th. You can see some of the other teams in the league here. There might be a few you recognise. Enfield Town are down there. We've got Met Police, Bury Town. But anyway, let's not dwell too much on other teams. That is a great first win. Away against Billericay, who I'm not actually sure how well they were predicted to do, but nevertheless, good to get things off to a winning start. Our next game is against Met Police, and as you can see already, the kind of issue I highlighted about the lack of time between some of the games in the lower leagues is evident. I mean, 3 days is not a long rest period between playing Met Police and then playing Kingstonian not long after. So let's have a quick look at the league. I just want to see where Billericay were predicted to finish. Let's try and get a general, what's the word? A general idea for the competition, and I guess who's predicted to do well and where we kind of lie. So we actually have 12-1 odds to win the title, which put us in 10th. Billericay were 16th, so we were ahead of them predicted to win the league. So we're predicted a 10th place finish, it would seem, with the bookies. Margate, Maidstone and Hornchurch seem to be the teams right at the top to keep an eye out on and potentially be wary of. But anyway, I'm going to wrap up this first episode here. Guys, hopefully you enjoyed this. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, I recommend you subscribe for more Football Manager videos. Down in the description of this video, there'll be a playlist for this entire series. So if you've stumbled across this video and you want to watch the rest all in order as they come out, that will be down there, and you can just hit play and it plays them all through in order for you. If you've enjoyed this video, please smash the like button, guys. Show some love for this new series. I do greatly appreciate it. If you've got any comments, questions, anything like that with regards to the save, feel free to leave them down in the description. Hopefully you've enjoyed, and hopefully we have a good, successful reign here at Lewis FC.